on wood, everything's going my way tonight. I can see comments and my face cam didn't freeze. We got this. I'm so excited about it. I've been busting to do teacher appreciation since we first decided that we were going to start doing a mini series in here instead of, because originally we did the beginner series, which was spread out over I think like 6 weeks, and then we did the intermediate series, which was spread out over a couple of months, and then after that, that's when we decided that we were going to do mini series where we shove all of the information into a compact 1 week event, and then that gives me the rest of the month off, and it gives you guys all of the information that you need as well, without having to wait weeks or months at a time. I've been busting to do this since then. We didn't have a mini series last month. Last month was meant to be business know-how on social media. We are getting to that. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties. It's going to be really hard for me to describe you through the steps of that mini series. So I am currently in the process of having my computer tweaked with, because we've got the problem solved where my face cam and my project cam work at the same time, but having the screen, having a live stream running at the same time that I'm trying to do a screen share makes it lag out really badly, like it used to with my old computer when I was trying to run 2 cameras. So I am in the process of tweaking. That doesn't sound good, does it? Modifying. I'm in the process of modifying my computer to be able to support that, and then I can show you, talk you through it as you watch me do it on the screen. Does that make sense? So that is coming. I haven't forgotten about that. In the meantime, we're going to do teacher appreciation. So part 1 is tonight. Part 1, we're going to make a start on a lot of our projects. Part 2 will be Friday, same time, 9 PM New South Wales time. That's when we're going to finish everything off. The only thing that we're going to get done tonight is one of the keychains. So we're doing 2 styles of pens that you can do. We're doing 2 styles of keychains that you can do. We're going to do a coaster, and we're going to do a pen and pencil holder as well. Okay, so since I've got comments working, we've got hi Belinda, hi Joanne, Anna's here, Janine, hi Janine, hi Kylie, Karen, Angela, Dorothy. Sorry for everybody watching the replay on YouTube. Everybody's here. This is why you should join the group. If you're Australian, make sure you join Aussie Tumbler Makers and Crafters on Facebook, because that's where we're having fun tonight. Rebecca, Lisa, Ronnie, Paula, Yvonne, hello everybody. Okay, so the first, what do we want to do first? The coaster I'm going to do at the end, because I was meant to do it at the beginning, but I was running a little bit tight for time and I haven't mixed my resin yet. So that's going at the end of the line. Let's start off with self-protection. Now, this mini-series is a little bit different. Well, no, not really, because we've done crafts in the other mini-series as well, haven't we? In this mini-series, the only resin-related crafts are the 2 pens that I am doing. I am using resin. Okay, you can use UV resin. Pretty sure you can use Crystalac on a pen. I'm not a Crystalac user, so I've never tried. But yeah, I'm going to be using resin. So we've got the 2 pens that we're making is a resin craft, and the coaster. Okay, but the 2 keychains that we're making and the pen holder that we're making aren't resin crafts. So it's a little bit of half and half. Hi Donna and Sonia and Nicole. Everybody's joining in tonight. How has your week been? It's hump day. Who, raise your hand if you felt the earthquakes. We didn't. I mean, I'm not in Victoria. I'm halfway between Sydney and Brisbane, and we actually had tremors about 1:30 and then again at 2, and the first one lasted no more than 2 or 3 seconds. The second one was a little bit longer. the first one that came shook the windows of this craft room, right? But I was walking through my curtains into the room when the windows started to shake, and I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, I know I've gained weight in quarantine, but I haven't gained that much weight to make the windows shake. And then it was about an hour later, I saw a post on the local Facebook group, and I was like, oh, thank God, it was an earthquake and not my fat butt. What do we want to do? But yeah, well, I wouldn't say it was an earthquake. It was just, I don't even know if it was an after tremor, but or an actual earthquake. But apparently it happened 4 kilometers south of my house. Dorothy and Yvonne did. I know Lindy. Sorry. I'm not sure if she was talking to us about it because she felt it herself, or if she had friends that did. I don't quite remember the conversation we had today, but I know that she was aware of it. Okay, let's start with the pen holder, because if we do the pen holder, we can let it drain. Now, the pen holder is one project that we're going to start off tonight and then finish on Friday. And it's basically, has anybody seen me do the makeup brush holders with the makeup kits? It's exactly that same idea, except instead of putting makeup brushes in it, we're going to be putting pens and pencils in it. Well, teachers are, right? And we're going to be putting their design on the front. But it basically works exactly the same way as a bauble. Now, you can use, where's my example? I'm actually in the middle of doing a makeup set at the moment. So you can use stemless wine glasses. For the pen holders, I like to use these little LoBall glasses from Kmart just because I think they're a bit cute. Okay, so these are the LoBall glasses from Kmart. Now, I was asked over in my Panda group when I was trying to promote this series tonight, oh, I've forgotten, Amanda asked if I can please let you all know where I get everything as I'm doing the live. Yes, I can. I will try to remember to. I'm not very good with that because every video that I've ever posted on YouTube, if you look in the description, I actually always list with links everything that I use. So because that's a habit of mine, I do tend to forget to let you know what I'm using in the video. So if you need to know something and I've forgotten to tell you, yell at me, but I will try to remember. So these glasses are from Kmart and they're just the LoBall ones. You will also need your varnish. I use the Jo Sonja's one. I know a lot of you also use, is it Cabots or Cabots? That one from Bunnings. I've never used that personally because this is what I used the first time I started doing baubles and I've just stuck with it, right? But you want the same thing that you basically use for your baubles. If you make baubles, you can get this from Spotlight, but make sure it's the green label one. I'm going to squirt a little bit into my glass. I have my little drainage glass here. Okay, you want to make sure the whole base is covered, and then we're going to slowly spin the glass so that we get that coverage. I'm just going to hold it over my drainage cup as well, but we want to make sure that we're coating the entire inside of the glass. So I'm just going to hold it on its side so that, because if I hold it upright, obviously it's all going to drain out. The circumference of this is a little bit bigger than a bauble. So I just hold it on its side so that it all pulls, right? And then I tip. And then I hold and let it pull again, and then tip until it starts to slow. That'll about do it. Okay, now behind me on my Turner desk, I have 3 of these little shot glasses set up upside down over some paper towel. Okay, so I'm going to sit this like this. Oh, I didn't want to do that, that's alright. Over on my paper towel. Actually, I'm going to let that pull for a second because that's quite a big... There we go. Okay, So I'm going to go and put this upside down behind me so that it can drain while we're doing the live, and then we'll come back to it at the end. Do that. Did anybody that's watching not watch the Christmas mini-series? Because the pen holders, well, the first step of the pen holders is basically just the same as a bauble. You put this stuff in, you drain it, you glitter it. That's the first part. There are additional steps because obviously we want to seal the inside of the glass so that the glitter's not chipping or going everywhere and making a mess of the classroom. But it's, I mean, it starts essentially the same way. But we will come back to that. That was our pen holder. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that, and I'll tell you why. Right, I started my, Anna and I were actually talking about this the other day. I started my YouTube channel, I think I made it in September last year, but the first video I uploaded wasn't until, I think, early October, maybe mid-October, right? So it's been almost a year since I made my YouTube channel, but I didn't get, you've got to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in one 28-day period. Like 1,000 subscribers in total on your channel, and then you also have to have 4,000 watched hours in the space of 28 days. And if you hit both of those targets, you can join the partner program. Now, if you join the partner program, they're the videos that you see the ads on, and then we get paid something ridiculous like a quarter of a cent for every video that's watched, and like 0.15 of a cent for videos that are skipped. Oh no, it's something absolutely ridiculous minuscule amount, right? Unless you're people like Bailey Sarian, where you have hundreds of thousands of views and millions of subscribers, you don't make much. But I hit my 1,000 subscribers at the beginning of July, and then I got, so from July till today, I got my first payment from YouTube for my channel. So thank you for watching my channel, because I finally, it took 2.5 months, because the money that you make, you have to hit a threshold of at least $100 before they pay you out. So in 2.5 months, I made my first $100 today. I woke up and it was in my bank account, and that was my next goal for me, was getting my first paycheck for my channel. So I've been in a great mood all day. So thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I have to go back and watch it. Joanne, the 3 parts are floating around in this group somewhere. I also have it on my channel. Everything eventually ends up on my channel so that you guys can go back and watch it without having to search through millions of posts. You're resining. That's fine. Are you saying you're resining now? Like you're working while you're watching? Yvonne, I can actually have 5 people at my house. I don't mean to brag, but I can have, currently, I mean, Kempsey's about 40 minutes north of me, and they went into a snap 7-day lockdown today. So it's not gonna, if you come in, you better leave now. Start running now, and you might make it before we get locked down again, because it's coming. Thank you very much for the congratulations. Okay, next thing, let's do the pens, shall we? Okay, now the pens. You can apply the glitter any which way that you like to. Usually I like to either apply it using tacket, not necessarily brandishing afterwards. I use tacket as an adhesive a lot because it's thinner than Mod Podge. Funnily enough, tonight I am using Mod Podge. You can use the hang method, right? Any way that you want to apply glitter to your pens. It's personal choice. It all works the same way. Tonight, as I just mentioned, I'm using Mod Podge. I need my painter's tape. The first one we're going to do is the pencils that you have all seen everywhere. Okay, I use the Papermate Inkjoy pens. I've already taken the guts out of this one, sanded it down, spray painted it white. I use Aussie Export in the matte white. My painter's tape. Oh, now, the colours that I normally use for my pencils are all American glitters. I realised that when I was prepping for my live tonight. So I have done my very best to find Australian glitters in the same colours that I use, but I don't have the right pink. So I am using a Yankee pink. But if anybody has, I'll show you what it looks like. See if the light turning on. No, that doesn't help at all, does it? Oh, a little bit. Focus. No, that's horrible. Okay, it's like a Barbie pink, but it's got silver through it as well, right? This is from the lady that I used to do lives for over in Texas. I didn't have a pink that'd, so that's my one apology. But this silver is just the silver, the Franchville silver from Spotlight. So you need pink. You need a pink, a pencil pink, right, for the rubber. Then the silver metal bit that clamps the rubber in. You want any kind of silver. This one's from Spotlight. The yellow of the pencil, we are using Pina Colada from Glitter Your World tonight because it's a really pretty yellow. This again is a Franchville glitter. It's just sand. It's like a champagne gold. Okay, so you want, let's see if I can do this without dropping them. That's how your pencil's going to look. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is get some tape happening. Okay. So where your little arm, if you're using the Inkjoy pens, let's see if we can get this to focus. See that little bit that's sticking out here? Right, where the arm used to be? Along that top bit is where I stick my first bit of tape. Like so. Okay. That's not my Mod Podge, that's my mica powder. This is what I want. No, nobody likes a bragger, and generally speaking, I am a very humble human being, but sometimes you gotta toot your own horn, so toot toot. No, I worked hard for that $100, so screw you, Anna. Okay, so my little pink rubber bit at the top. This is a Dishwasher Safe Mod Podge, but because it's going under resin or crystal-lac or whatever, you can use the gloss or the matte or whichever one you like. Like I said, you don't even have to use Mod Podge. If you wanted to, you could do the hang method, tack it, hairspray. If you do the hairspray though, I think I wouldn't recommend taping it off. Just spray the whole thing and do it as like a 4-part ombre, and Godspeed to you, my friend. Okay, so the pink. And I will mention too, because I'm using glitters that I wouldn't normally use, the glitters that I normally would use on a white base, I only need 1 coat. The Spotlight glitters are the ones that I'm the most worried about. I'm not worried about this one or Holly's one, but if it does need another coat, I'll be doing that off camera. But you basically do exactly the same again. I wouldn't tape any of it down. Just use like the colours as your guidelines, and use your Mod Podge or whatever, and do your second coats. Okay, so we have our tip. And I'm really sorry about my nails too, guys. When we were in lockdown for 4 weeks. I was already due for an appointment when we went into lockdown. By week 2 of lockdown, I pulled the nails off myself, because they were really, really overgrown and they were too long for me to do anything. So I do apologise about my hands. I do have an appointment, but not until school goes back. So please ignore my hands tonight and just focus on what I'm doing. So there. With our next bit of tape, we want to go to, remember that little bit, that oval where the arm broke off? Right, we're going to wrap, no, not that bit, that's the bit I'll wrap off. Tore off. Okay, we're going to wrap around the bottom of that little oval. I don't know about you, but I always fold my corners over because I can never find the start of the tape. Alright, now we're going to do the exact same thing again, but with the silver. I actually have a pretty steady hand, and oh, I had to go jinx that, didn't I? Far out. But I do. I have quite a steady hand tonight, which is unusual. Okay, so going in with the silver. Again, this is Spotlight Silver. Actually, I'm just gonna... Okay. And peel off. And we have the top of our pencil. Ta-da! Okay. Next is the yellow, and then we finish with the gold. So these, again, on the Inkjoy pens. If you're not using the Inkjoy pens, you're going to just have to do it by eye. Sorry, because these are the only ones that I use. But you know how you have your little holes? Okay. About halfway between the bottom dot and the second dot from the bottom, right? About there. Halfway between those two dots is where you want to put your next bit of tape. Just going to cut my tape in half. There we go. No, that's the wrong one. That's our next one. Okay, let's try that again with the one that we've already put glitter on, Laura. See, I told you I jinxed myself. That was a close call, but... I could have gone either way there. Could have gotten to the point where I'd already put Mod Podge on it and then realised that I'd fucked up. We got close. Okay, so obviously this big bit in the middle is our pencil. Now, I have mentioned this. I haven't been in the craft a long. I know I have mentioned this to some of you recently. When I say recently, I mean like in the last year that I've been doing tutorials. Right? When you're Mod Podging, right, and you've got to go up to a part that's you don't want to get Mod Podge on, I'm going to show you a trick, right? Think of this as like a little nail polish brush, right? I learnt this at beauty school. Put your brush a little bit down from where you want to be, then push the brush up to that line you want to be at, and then drag down. Does that make sense? So instead of trying to line your brush up to where you want to go, if you put your brush down a little bit and then push it up to your line and then drag down, right, it'll help you get a straight line every single time. It's my little trick. Making sure I have an even coat the whole way around. Okay. Wait till you start. I've used this a couple of times before and oh god, it's such a pretty glitter. This one I had no worries about. I knew this wouldn't need a second coat. That and the pink. Although the silver did alright. I'm pretty impressed with the silver. Ta-da! I'm going to put the light on for this just for full effect. Focus please. So pretty. Isn't it gorgeous? Very impressive. I don't usually use sparkly glitter for my, I call them the HB pencils, but like the pencils, right? I usually use pearls. They are all from Amy. They're all from America. But the pink, the yellow and the gold. No, all four are, but the pink and the yellow are pearls, which don't sparkle, and then the silver and the gold are solid metallics, which is why I tried to use the spotlight ones, because if you can see the silver, please focus. Whenever you're ready, like we've got all night, guys. There we go. The silver is a metallic still, but it is a spotlight silver. So I tried to closely match, but I don't have any Australian pearls. So we're going with what we got. Then our last little bit down the bottom is our gold. Again, this is sand from the Franchville range at Spotlight. And there we have our pencil. Okay, and there's the gold. See, it's not like yellow gold. It's like a champagne gold. It's really pretty. Think like, you know, beaches. The beach cups and glasses. That kind of gold. And that is where I thought I could use the neons from DJ. Yes, I do have the neons from DJ, but they don't sparkle. And so it would have ended up being like a ultra fine matte top, then a metallic, then a sparkly glitter, and then a metallic, and I thought it just would look weird. So I stuck with this one so that these two were sparkly, like sparkle. These two were metallic, and it kind of evened itself out, and it looked a little bit more even. But yeah, do it. What's some other yellows? Lemonelli from Glitter by Kate, that used to be Linda B. You could use that one. You could use Sunshine Lollipop from Lush, and Sunray for the yellow. What's the pink called? Lightning Welk from DJ Designs. It's like a super bright neon pink. So there are glitters that you could use, but I was just trying to closely match that I could. So that's what we ended up with. That's where we're going to leave that one. I'm going to let that dry. I'm actually glad that's not going to need a second coat at all. If the glitters that you are using, and if you're using those neon ones, this you will definitely need 2 coats. I've used that for other projects, and they do need 2 coats on a white base. But you just do it exactly the same way as what we just did there. Give it a really, really good dry brushing, and then work in sections to put your second layer on. Next pen that I tried to do before, but we weren't ready for yet. Actually, I'm just gonna... No, I'm not, because I already finished my tea. Finished my tea. I caught myself though. I looked at it and I was like, this looks very naked. This is not the droid we're looking for. Okay, so the other pen that we are going to do is those really cool Crayola pens. I shouldn't have said that. The Crayon Pens, right? Now I have made my own SVG for it. You'll see on Friday when we go to decorate it, I just print it onto a clear water slide and use it as a wrap. You can do vinyl if you want to, but after the live on Friday, I will be uploading that crayon file with the little squiggles at the top and the bottom and the circle. I will be uploading that into the group so that you can download it and you can do it. You can use it for whatever you want. Okay. I do want to put in a quick little doing the little squiggles at the top and the bottom. They're not copyrighted, but they are trademarked to be part of the brand of that C brand that I shouldn't have said before, because I will get tagged for it. So if you do make them as gifts. Do not profit from them. If you are considering selling them, it's my responsibility to tell you, go for it, but you do so at your own risk. Okay. The lines themselves aren't copyrighted, but they do come under a branding trademark, so they can still not necessarily come after you for trillions of dollars like the D brand, the mouse ears, would. But yeah, they're not going to be very happy with you if you're selling like hundreds of pens. You could get into a bit of trouble. So you do that at your own risk. But if you're just making them for friends, family, your own kids, teachers, I've not seen them get too upset about that. But I have known a couple of people, especially in American groups, when it's like their first day of school and stuff like that, their Etsy shops are getting flagged. So there is something there. I'm not sure if it applies to us down here. I just tend to stay away from trouble and keep my nose clean, so I am not well versed in the laws. But yeah, anything that's replicating a well-known brand, I just, as a blanket warning, you're doing so at your own risk, because a lot of people are pretty, and rightfully so, are pretty protective of their branding nowadays. Okay, so Mod Podge all over. I am using Flossy from Lush tonight. This is actually what we're also going to be doing the colour of the pen holder, because this set, so she's going to get a keyring, a pen and a pen holder, is for Little Man's Teacher. So we're going to have it all matching, because I may as well do two birds with one stone and make her gift while I'm teaching you guys how to make gifts. Haha. And then I only have 2 teachers to make for, and one of them's a dude. And I love the experience that male educators bring to the entire schooling environment. Some of my favourite teachers were dudes, but fuck, they're hard to like make for. Okay, so that's Flossy Lee, and if you'll see, once it focuses please, that is going to need another coat. Okay, there's still little bits of white showing up from underneath. I want a really nice solid colour. So once that dries, I'll give it a good dry brush. I'll put Mod Podge over it again, and I'll put another coat of glitter on it again. And that will be between now and Friday, so that we can finish it up on Friday. What I also want to mention is both of the pens are going to have a coat of resin put on them before Friday. Okay, so I'll probably do that tomorrow morning, let it spin so that it's cured and well hard by Friday night. Just because then that will bring us up to the next step where we can put all of the little bits and pieces on it and finish the design work. If you haven't made a pen before, I did do a really extensive pen tutorial. I show you from prep to packaging and everything in between, 4 different styles, and I go into the how to apply resin to a pen process in that video. That is on my channel, so I'm not going to do that tonight. I didn't think there was any point, because 90-ish% of you, I dare say, have seen or heard of that tutorial anyway, and I didn't want to bore you, or have been making pens yourself and don't need to know. Just going to quickly catch up on comments before we move on to the key rings. Mine has 5 teachers and one of them's a bloke. Do you think instead of the pink eraser part on the pencil one, make it blue? Angela, I was actually thinking about this, because I'm gonna, this one's for my eldest teacher, but I was thinking of when we do the coaster's actually going to be for him, but I'm going to give him a pen as well, and I was thinking acrylic paint, right, so it still looks like a pencil, but instead of it being real sparkly, it's just, yeah, but that's how I'm going to go about it. I'm going to make it look exactly the same, because pencils are still like that colour, they just don't sparkle. So it's the added bonus of using glitter to make it all pretty and woo, right? But if I use acrylic paint, he's still going to know that it's a pen, but it's going to look like a pencil. It's still going to have his name on it, but it's not going to be all pretty and sparkly and have confirmed, some guys are into it, right? Have confirmed this guy's like in his mid-50s, late 50s, right? He's not a fan of sparkles. My eldest had him last year, and I did some research, and he's 100% no glitter, please. So I was just going to use acrylic paint. I have it all worked out in my head. Dorothy, that's so exciting. I'm actually I have half a floor at the moment, because I'm actually in the process of rearranging everything to how I want it. The wall was half the battle. That's now done. I'm just waiting for a little desk to go up in my corner, and then I can put my bigger shelving in, and then I'm going to have my silhouette and my vinyl and everything in here, because at the moment I'm spread out over 3 parts of the house. So I'm trying to get it all sorted. It's like trying to move into a tiny house. I'm trying to maximize the most of my little space. With different rooms for that type of... Oh, Rebecca, a shed. There's actually a property in Port Macquarie at the moment. I told my mum she can buy it for me for my birthday. It's 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plus an ensuite, plus a toilet, like a separate toilet. It's got a kitchen and a kitchenette. The basement is a double garage with a separate rumpus room, which obviously I'd turn it into my craft room, which is also the size of a double garage. The top floor where the bedrooms are have a balcony, a little balcony at the master bedroom, and it has its own, like you walk out into your backyard to your back fence, and it's got its own boat ramp. And for the bargain price, it starts at, they're accepting offers from 1.4 million. So I said to Mum, hey Mum, can you buy me a house for my birthday please? It's only 1.4 M. It's starting at. Maybe they're like the good guys, you know, pay less, pay cash. That's what, Dorothy, that's exactly what my mum said. For that price, we'll buy 2. Okay, the keychains. Now, the first one tonight is using, if anybody saw my Lush unboxing and demo, I got this in, right? When I opened the box, because I just asked her to send me a mystery parcel, I had no idea what this was. I thought it might have been a keychain. I spoke to Ronnie after I filmed that first part of the demo, and she confirmed that yes, it is in fact a keychain. So we're going to do it exactly the same way as what we do a bauble. I was going to do it as a glitter flow at first, and then I thought, because we're turning it into a keychain, so we're drilling through this bit. I wasn't quite sure if it had caused leaks. So I've never actually done one of these keychains before, but since I got it in the demo box, I thought, we'll give it a try, hey? I only put the tiniest little bit in there. That didn't work. That should do, donkey. Okay. Back with the Flossy Lee. Straight into the pencil. Swirl it around. Dun 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 dun! Easy peasy. Please focus. There we go. Pretty. Okay. So, full disclosure, once all this is put together and I've gone, oh look, we made a keychain, right? I am going to take it back apart and just let it sit on my desk like this overnight, just to get that inside dried out. But this is what I want. Okay, so we've got our top and our bottom of our pencil. You will also need keychain hardware. I'm using a little blue tassel because it matches that. I'm going to put a Lobster Clasp on it just because I can. I'm using 2 7mm jump rings and an eye hook. Now if you have a hand drill, use your hand drill. I have one of these babies from LBB. I just realised my computer has 3 USB ports and I have 3 things connected to it. Okay, my face. If you're catching the replay, hello, welcome back. This is part 1 2.0 because for some reason when I disconnected my face cam for my mini drill, I don't know why, but my microphone, like, I had it, I tried, before I wrote my note, when I realised I had no sound, I tried wiggling the plug in the back of the microphone, that didn't work. Wiggling the plug in my computer, that didn't work. Moving it to where I just had my USB drill, that didn't work. Unmuting and, muting and unmuting myself, that didn't work either. When I ended the live, I actually had to delete the settings of my microphone entirely and re-add it as a new media source. So I don't know what I did, but it broke. I broached it. So you saw me put all the varnish in and you heard that bit, yeah? Okay. And we glittered it. Then all I did was drilled a little hole. Okay. I got my little eye hook out. We're using silver. And I'm pretty sure that's all you missed, yeah? Was me drilling the hole and getting the little eye hook out. So this is why it's good that I have a YouTube channel. Because all of this, I can join it all together and cut out all the crap. And then it's a little bit easier to follow. But I jinxed myself at the beginning. I was like, look at me. My comments are working. And so is my face cam. And I'm so special. And that's just the universe going, are you really though? Oh, you're special, alright, but what kind of special are you, Laura? Okay, so, little eye hook. I'm just going to twist it into the hole that I made. Those drills are from LBB resin as well, guys. It's not just for keychain making, like you can use it for jewelry making. I use it for when I put charms on my pens. I use it for when I make like acrylic keychains that aren't meant to be keychains and you have to like do the same thing, drill a hole and put an eye hook in. I use it for that as well. If you do the alphabet keychains, that would be really good for that as well. But that's what we have. And now we just got to put it together. Me old faithfuls. And me not so old faithfuls because the other one broke. So now I have like a... Can you tell the difference in age? Okay. So I want to put on one of my jump rings, I'm going to put the top of my pencil and my keychain hardware and close that up. And then just because I can, I'm also going to add a Lobster Clasp. I don't want to put too much pressure on that O-ring, so I'm going to do it on the link up. I'll show you. Okay, so see how both jump rings are on that same link instead of this O-ring being on that jump ring. Right, so they're on the same bottom link, but I didn't want to put too much pressure on this jump ring. So they're on the same link, but they're separate. Right, and I just realised I forgot to put, because I want to be all fancy and have a Lobster Clasp. This is also when you'd add your tassel. So it's like that. And there is a keychain. Okay, so I am going to cut the vinyl for it. Technically this is finished. I mean, that's done. But I'm going to do all of the design work in part 2. So she's still going to get Mrs. Myers put on this, just to finish it off. But they are pencil keychains. Aren't they cute? Ronnie, I saw that you were here. I did the inside of this the same way that you do a bauble. Is that how you're supposed to do it, or is there another way? Do you glue the hood into the pen? You can. Now that you've said that, I probably will. Just so she can't take it apart and have a sticky beak. But that's why I was a little bit worried about using, like, making it a glitter flow. I wasn't sure whether it'd end up leaking out or not. But now that you've said that, I probably will. But like I said, I want this to dry out overnight before I go putting the lid on. So saying that, I have Liquid Fusion. Well, they were flakes, if anybody was wondering, that I just knocked off the back of my table. I have Liquid Fusion in a little needle tip bottle that I use for rhinestoning. I might put a line of Liquid Fusion around that bit there and then glue it back on. Now that you've mentioned it, thank you. Same as you, and added glue to the eye pin. Oh, I didn't do that, but that's in there pretty firmly. This is, again, personal preference, guys, but when I do my keychains, I always solder my jump rings just so they don't pull apart. So that's really all I've got left to do. But yeah, I probably will glue that on, but I want that to dry overnight. But just for visual purposes, that's what we have for our first keychain. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to put that aside. Second keychain, we're going to play with clay. Yay! I don't want to say I'm not a fan of, because that's not true. When I play with clay, I have fun. Okay? I'm just not very good at it. So I don't do it a lot because I'm not very good at it. But these are fun to do. Okay, so you will need, I'm going to put that aside. Everything aside. You will need clay would be a good start. I'm using white. If you can get grey or silver clay, do that. Okay, but yellow, like the peachy colour, black, and pink clay. Okay, I will tell you the colours as I pull them out of the bags, but you do need a pink, a black, a yellow, a grey if you can. We're using the white tonight, but as you can see, I'm going to show you how you can turn it into a silver one if you need to. And I think this is it burnt sienna? No, beige. Beige. These are all, am I lying? No, yeah, they're all Sculpey clays. Some of them are Primo and some of them are the Sculpey 3s. Because some of them I got from Anna and some of them I already had from Spotlight. But you need clay. If you can't get silver or grey, you will also need a silver mica powder. I'm using Second Place from Pixie Dust Pigments. Get all these out. You'll also need something to cut your clay with. I use this fondant ruler. Something to stick a hole through the center of your clay. I'm using this. It came out of the toolkit that Anna was selling at one stage. Otherwise, like drill bits and stuff. You know, a kebab stick. Anything that you can poke a hole through. And what else do we need? That's all for this part. Okay. So the idea is, and we're only going to be making our little balls tonight, because we've got to bake them, and then on Friday we'll come back and we'll finish this one off. So we've only got this and the coaster to go. It's a little bit of a long one, guys, but instead of breaking it into 3 or 4 parts, I thought that this was the best way to do it. I'm going to do the grey one last, so let's start with black. This is the black pearl. Granite pearl, sorry. So it does have, I'll see that shimmer, please focus, thank you. It's got a shimmer to it. You only want, hang on, I'll do it this way so you can see. More than that. Maybe about that much. Alright, 2 little slithers, because we're going to work them into... Right, so this is oven baked clay. They are, Sculpey clays are oil based clays, right? They're not air dry clays. If I was to leave this like that on my desk all night, it wouldn't dry out. Don't ask me why I keep them in Ziploc bags. Everything, molds, everything I have, except glitter. It all goes into Ziploc bags. I am not doing my part to help the environment. I am saddened to say when it comes to Ziploc bags. But they do set when you bake them, okay? I'm just going to chop a little bit of this off because I have a bit much. Okay, so we're going to make our shapes tonight. I'm going to bake them. I usually bake mine at 130 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then I let them cool entirely, okay? I've got a little... Right, it's not quite a circle. I want to start shaping it into, it reminds me of, and in my defense, I've never actually seen this movie. I just remember when I was a kid, it was called That's Entertainment, but it was basically like a privately owned blockbuster. Right, and there was a movie that was always there. It was like nobody ever wanted to watch it, called Coneheads. Did anybody actually see that? That's kind of the shape that you want to get, right? Did anybody see that movie? I'm sure I didn't dream it. It was 3 dudes with, you guessed it, cone heads. Easy. Okay. So once I have, my fingers are too fat for this. You don't want it super pointy, right? You don't want it nice and sharp. But you do want it to look like the tip of a pencil. Oh, Dorothy's seen it. See, I knew it wasn't in my imagination. Actually, I'm going to go from this end. Poke a hole all the way through. And then I'm just going to widen it a little bit, just to make it easier for me on the other end when we're threading through. Okay, so let's see if we can get this to, see, you can see my hand, right? The hole goes the whole way through. And that is the tip of our pencil. One piece of the puzzle. I heard that. Okay, anybody that's my friend on Facebook or has been, you know, you've known me for a while, you know that I love dumb jokes. I love punny jokes. I love dumb jokes. I love jokes that just make people roll their eyes, right? It is my one joy in life to have people roll their eyes at me when I tell them a dumb joke, right? I find I have a lot of satisfaction in that. So I'm going to tell you my joke. And it does have something to do with the count, okay? That's what came to my mind. I'm not crazy, but doing the just then remind me of the joke, right? So my friend asked me, who's your favourite vampire? And I said, oh, that's easy, the Count of Sesame Street. And they said, he doesn't count. And I said, oh, I assure you he does. But on dish. Do you get it? I love dumb jokes and I will never apologise for it. Okay, we're going to do the pink next. Clean that black off. I heard one today that I actually put on my status because it made me laugh. It was actually on like, you know those, you know the posters with like the kitten, the hang in there with the kitten, right? One of those stupid posters, right? And it said, always give 100%, and then in brackets it had, unless you're donating blood. Okay, I won't torture you anymore. Okay, that is too big. Try again. And now that is not enough. One day I might get the hang of clay. One day. Okay, so the rest of them we want to be... I'm going to get flagged on YouTube. We want them to be circles, right? We want them to be round, because if I keep using the B word, I'm going to get demonetized. But... okay, so we want them in a round shape, but they need to end up looking... See how it's like flat? Round, but flat. Right. So once you've got a good looking circle, you just want to go flatten it out a bit, and then as you're pressing these two bits, top and bottom, you want to rotate. I know how to do this on camera. You want to rotate the clay as you're pressing on all sides. Am I making sense? Right, so that you end up with something that looks like that. Okay, now we want to make sure that it's not too big, because it's going to throw out our tip. Okay, so there is our rubber and our pencil tip, which may need work. We'll see. Okay, your yellow. This one is a mystery. Cadmium yellow. There we go. So again. Does anybody have any questions? Or a joke? Just while we're sitting here making balls. Oh! No, that's right, because I said I'd do the silver last, didn't I? Okay. That's alright. I'm not forgetting any steps. Tricked you all. Okay, so when you're doing... Oh, I had pink on my fingers. That's alright. As you're starting to piece them all together, just kind of make sure that they're all the same, right? The only exception will be your second... No, your beige one, sorry. So you want your pink, your silver, and your two yellows to all be the same. And then your beige one does peter off just a little bit, because then that's what fits your pencil tip. And this is when it'll start to really show that I'm not very good at working with clay. I don't hate it. I have fun. My 10-year-old daughter loves to work with clay. She'll sit and watch YouTube videos and make Ariel and Elsa and fucking flowers and all kinds of shit because she just follows tutorials on YouTube. And I'm like, show off. But she does. She loves playing with clay. I like playing with it. I'm just not very good at it. And that's okay. Can't be good at everything. Okay, so I have my two yellows. Oh, that worked. Oh no. Oh no, it's all gonna crumble. Uh-oh. I only used it once or twice. Okay, let's try it with... Oh... Okay, I'm not going to struggle with that because it's getting late. So, instead, I'm just going to show you what I was going to show you with the grey, but we're going to make it this colour instead. Because I'm not going to go through the process of, I don't even know where my liquid clay is. But... since that's not going to cooperate... Oh, that was beige, by the way, for those playing along at home. It's no good. So get all this out of the way. And give me a chance to show you. Let's see if I've got a gold. No, we're going to use the pastel pink. Okay. So, if you can't get the beige or the silver, oh no, where is it? Right, I've already made this. Please focus. Anytime you're ready. There we go. I already made this. This started as this. And then I added that from Pixie Dust. And that's how I got this. Okay. We're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to use pastel pink. Because honestly, it's just going to be easier. Some gloves on. Told you I've got shit everywhere in here at the moment. If you keep hearing things falling, it's because I'm knocking shit everywhere. Because I have no room. Okay, so I'm going to start just by working the clay. I'm going to get... Just do what you're told. Just a slither. Just a little bit, because I'd rather have too much than not enough. Okay, so I'm going to flatten it out. Get some mica powder. And start working it in. This is a really easy way to color clay the way that you need it to be colored, but you just have to make sure that you mix it in really well. Put a little bit more. I'm wondering if this is going to be too light now. I reckon we'll get away with it. What do you reckon? Please focus. It's not super bright, but I'm going to put the lid on that before I knock that on its arse. Okay. So this one we want to make into one of our little thingamajiggy. I suppose technically it's a cylinder, but it's a very short and stubby cylinder, like me. Okay, so once you have like your bead happening, like so, I just want to bring one side of it in ever so slightly. It's got a butthole. Cover that up. Because we want this, there we go, to sit on there like that. Now, we don't want that part so big. Okay, now, if I move all this out of the way, all for nothing. I promise. I'll show you. That goes there. And that goes that way. Then we have 2 yellows. And then our silver. And then our pink. Ta-da! We made a pencil! Woohoo! Right, and then that gets turned into like bag bling. Right, or a keychain. But I suppose you can do exactly the same thing with bubblegum beads if you're into bubblegum beads. But I thought it might be fun to do clay. I'm going to go through and make, because this is what we're going to be threading the wire through on Friday night. Now put my holes in them pre-bake. And your holes don't have to be the prettiest thing on the planet because nobody's going to see them when they're all lined up. But just make sure before you put them in the oven that your outsides look really nice. Because that's the part that everybody's going to see. But they all have their holes in them now. They're ready for baking. And like I said, that's obviously I'm not going to bake that on camera. So they will be baked ready for Friday when we go to put them together. They are going to be baked at 130 degrees, and I usually bake them for about 20 to 30 minutes. It really depends on the size of the project. These I'll probably only put in for about 20 minutes because it's only a small surface area. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this keychain before we start finishing up? Because we're getting very close to the end now. I know it's a long one. Thank you for bearing with me. Friday won't be as long. But to get all of the first steps done, this one was always going to be a little bit longer. So I have so much stuff on my desk, man. Every time I use something, it just goes under my computer. Like, my computer's up on one of those little tray table-y things, and everything just gets shoved under there. That can go in my junk clay thing. Clean this up first. Okay. Wunderbar. Alright. Resin. I need a bigger measuring cup. Oh, hello. Nope, not tonight, Satan. Instead, we're going to use this. What is that? An empty shaker. Okay, I'm gonna use Platinum Super Clear tonight. I also need this so that I can see because I'm blind. And my gloves. And because we are using resin, you know what that means. Safety! When working with resin, please make sure you are working in a well-ventilated area and near an open window if at all possible. I have a window just here. Alright, if you can't be right next to a window, at least make sure that you have really good ventilation in the room. Always wear gloves. Wear safety goggles if you can. I wear glasses, so I convince myself that that's good enough. If you do have reactions to epoxy, I would definitely recommend a full face respirator mask. However, if you've never had a problem before, you still need to protect your respiratory system with a half face respirator mask. I have a 3M1 that I got from Bunnings. It has little interchangeable filters in it. I know we're all probably sick of wearing masks by now, but no, this is part A. I'm doing it right. Okay, Super Clear is a 2-to-1 resin. So I'm going to do 60 mils of part A and 30 mils of part B. And it's always boring watching people mix resin. I am well aware of that, guys. I am very guilty if I'm watching a tutorial on YouTube or something and they're mixing resin in the tutorial. I tend to skip through it. Watching people mix resin is like watching paint dry. It's fucking boring, so I'm really sorry. I was meant to do the coaster first and have all of my resin pre-mixed, but I ran out of time. I've got 3 kids, which means 3 different bedtimes. Trying to get them all organised and asleep before 9 can sometimes be really easy, but sometimes a little bit tricky, and I just ran out of time tonight. Which is why we're doing it last, but I do want to apologise to you. Because I feel the same way. I think this part of the process, whoa, is really boring. But I have no other way around it. Don't put that in your mouth, Lord. It's on a paintbrush. Okay, so this is part B. We want 30 mils. Shouldn't take too long, but while I'm staring though, I'll go through what we're going to do. Alright, so that's now 90 mils of epoxy. I'm going to move these out of the way. While I'm stirring with one hand, I'm going to lodge that between the lip of my table and my tripod. Okay, so I'm using my square coaster mold tonight. I'm pretty sure this one came from LBB resin. But in all honesty, it may have come from Pixie Dust. I know I got a square one and a circle one, but I'm not sure if this one, because I've got one from both places. So I'm not sure which one is which. But I got a square one and a circle one from both places. I got the ones from Pixie Dust first, and then I'm pretty sure I got the square and the circle one in a mystery box from LBB, possibly. I don't know. But we have a square. I'm not sure if the circle works. I've never tried the circle. I've only ever done it with the square because I like how it looks, and I'll show you why. These pencils are just like the $2 packet. They come in a pack. I've just got it here. They come in a pack of 50, right? And depending what color schemes you want to do, you can get a few coasters out of it. Okay, so tonight we're going to go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink. And I wasn't going to do this part in the live because it takes a little bit to dry. If you have a hot glue gun, definitely use a hot glue gun. If you don't have a hot glue gun, I used liquid fusion because I couldn't find my hot glue gun. I'm pretty sure Serendy was the last one to use it, and she just never returned it. So I don't know what she's done with it, but I couldn't find my hot glue gun. So when they're all loose, you want to run a line of glue, right? How they're a hexagon, right? Each flat edge is going to join up with the next flat edge, and you want to put a line of glue, whether it be liquid fusion or your hot glue or whatever. You put the line on one pencil, and then you use that to join it to the next pencil. You hold it, right? If it's hot glue, it's going to dry pretty much straight away. If it's liquid fusion, you're going to just have to keep pressing it until they start to stick. But I already went ahead and made one for two reasons. One, I couldn't find my hot glue gun, so it wasn't instant. Two, if you can see, if I can get it to show up, see how they're shiny and they're not so much. Can you see the difference? Right. These have been, I find it reduces bubbles. The first couple of these that I made, I ended up with really bad bubbles between, right, because it sits in there like that. So on this side, between the lines between the pencils and the top of the coaster, I had bubbles. And then I started painting them with, now I have, an American friend suggested I do this, and I already had this. Okay, one of the perks of having American friends is you can get stuff sent to you. But I've had this quick coat, about 2 years now, and I've only used that much of it. Right, I still have all of that. So a little bit does go a long way. But my friend suggested that I paint the pencils with quick coat. Now, if obviously, because we can't get CC DIY products down in Australia, if you're on YouTube and you're watching this and you have access to quick coat, use quick coat. If you're Aussie, I got you, don't worry. This stuff works almost exactly the same. Okay, the stuff that we're using in our baubles, that works almost exactly the same. Obviously, CC DIY have the following that they do because of the products that they have. Okay, so it's not an exact match, it's not a perfect replacement, but it comes close enough. All I did was paint a little bit onto each side, let it dry, and the two, I've made 4 of these in total. Okay, the first 2 were fails. The second 2, one of them had a couple of tiny little micro bubbles on one of the pencils. I was able to cover that up with the decal that we put on before, like the last bit. The second one that I made had no flaws at all. So I'm thinking the trick between you, me, and the rest of the internet, the trick is to coat them with something. And to me, it made sense. Like when Jamie suggested it, I was like, because the whole point of the reason why I wanted quick coat is because I was going through, this is going back a couple of years, mind you, but I was going through a stage where I was using like the reflective metallic vinyl, like like this stuff. right? Like the super reflective, not the, you know how some of them's a little bit more metallic and some of them's like proper foil, right? That and all of the opal vinyls were just coming out, and I was using opal vinyl on everything as well, and I was getting tiny little micro bubbles over my decals when the epoxy was going on every single time. And it was the same friend, actually, Jamie, that sent me the quick coat, because she said it eliminates those pesky little bubbles when I'm doing my coat of resin, and she was right. So when she suggested the same thing for this, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I don't have any more coffee cups, but this just needs to go in here for another minute. If you're using crayons, I haven't actually tried with crayons. I've only done this style of coaster with pencils, so I can't tell you any troubleshooting if you were to do it with crayons, but I imagine the process would be pretty much the same. The whole reason why I glue my pencils together is because I don't want them going and floating off in all different directions, right? I want them to stay together and nice and straight and even. But that's not done. Now, as I mentioned, I've got one male teacher to make for. I'm going to make this for him. So I thought around the outside, not too trailer park girls, we're going to use, this is Little Bluebird from LBB. I actually think it's back from when they were called Little Bluebird and not just LBB. But I'm going to put it in that bit there. I'm just hoping because again I wasn't organised. Had I been organised I would have pre-poured it. I'm just hoping it doesn't like float into everything else. So I'm only going to fill it up the tiniest little bit. And then the rest will be clear. Because I can't use any glitter because he's a no sparkle man. Boring. Okay. A little bit in there. Anybody have any questions? Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Still one of my favorite blues. Okay, so I'm going to spray my mold. I'm going to pray to the craft gods that I have a steady hand. And we're going to try and pour because I don't want it coming up over the edges, because I'm thinking that that might increase my risk of the blue running into the clear where the pencils are. I don't want it to be so thin that it's transparent either. Stay, boo boo, stay. I'll use that for something. Okay. So, in frame, I'm going to pour some of my resin in the middle. Make sure it's covering everywhere that we want the pencils to go. Without having that blue running. See why I was a little bit worried about it coming up? Okay, a little bit of resin. Hello, newbie here. Just like to say thank you, ladies, for all of your videos, advice in this group. I've learnt so much. Also, a newbie to resin, definitely still learning. Hi, Stacy! I come along every now and then and I do the tutorials. So it's nice to meet you. Hello, I'm Laura. You'll see people calling me Panda. That's also me. But I do the tutorials. Or I try to. No! We have an invader. Go back to your corner. I think I fucked this one up. I do. I think as soon as we start adding more resin, this blue's going to bleed. But, we'll see. Okay, now, I'll do it so that you guys are looking. Right? Remembering that we're looking down through the bottom to the top. The top's that way, right? You want to make sure you put your rainbow in backwards, so when the coaster's the right way around, the rainbow's the right way. Okay? Yes, I did make that mistake to begin with. But luckily the first one that I ever made was like varying shades of purple. So instead of it going light to dark like I wanted it to, it went dark to light. So it wasn't a huge tragedy, but that is where I learnt. Okay, we're going to pop these in there like that. We're going to push down and give it a bit of a wiggle. Make sure that that's center. And see, this is why I like the pencils, because if you can see, they line up perfectly between like that middle square, the top and the bottom of that middle square. I'm just going to make sure that they're straight. And then we can very carefully pour our resin over the top. And I am pouring my resin from the top of the pencils and letting it run over from the top of the pencils, because it's self-leveling. It's going to fill up the mold anyway, but I want to make sure that blue doesn't bleed too much. This table's not even either, guys, so this won't stay here. Just gonna make sure. Oh no, that blue. Come all around my edges. Spray that again. I do have some micro bubbles. I will keep an eye. I've got some work to do after this live anyway, so I will. No! Stay there. Back to your corner. Yeah, so I will keep an eye on them. No, stay. As I'm working, but that is the first step to our coaster.
Ta-da! Stacy, alcohol inks. Oh my god. Alcohol inks are like still, to this day and always, will be one of my favourite things to do. Back in the day, it was actually called the Alicia method because it was a girl called Alicia that came up with it. A little bit of inside information. But yeah, way back in the day, it was called the Alicia method, and then it's eventually just changed to an ink swirl, and it stayed that way. Okay. I didn't think that through, did I? Okay. I'm going to bring our glass from before back over. Just cleaning it up. See all these little gnarly bits? It's just dry varnish from the outside of the glass. There we go. The inside's not affected. Put that there. This, I have to very carefully put over here without spilling. Haha, did it. Okay, so all that we've got left to do tonight, guys, is glitter our pen holder, and then I'm out of your hair, and I aimed to do this in 90 minutes, and it's taken me 2 hours, so I'm really sorry. But we got there. It didn't help that I fucked up my microphone halfway through, but we got there. Okay, so we're going back to Flossy Lee, because like I mentioned, I'm making the set. It's the exact same way as a bauble, guys. We're going to dump our glitter in here. I'm going to swirl it. And that is step 1. Okay. So now it's going to sit like that for the rest of the night. Probably need a second coat, but that's okay. We can we'll deal with the second coat on Friday. I'm going to leave it sitting upright to dry out tonight. But that's done now until Friday, and we're done. Guess who's running on time tonight? Hello, good evening. Part 2. Okay, so if you missed Wednesday night, this is part 2. We did part 1 on Wednesday night. Part 1 also has 2 parts. There's a part 1 and a part 1 2.0 because I managed to delete my sound halfway through the live. So I had to stop the live and then start a new one with my microphone re-added to my software. So there is 2 parts. I will go back when we're finished and link both parts in the comments. But otherwise, hello, good evening, everybody. They were doing work on my internet in the area today, so not sure how we're going to go. So far, I haven't gotten, like, anybody that's ever done a live before, you know how they have, like, your stream health section on your screen. So far, that's why I let the intro go for a little bit longer this time. Just while everybody was jumping on, I was trying to see if we were going to lag out or not. So far, so good. Cross your fingers. But if we do have problems, I may have to come back and finish another night. Or just film it off camera. But cross your fingers, so far so good. Tonight shouldn't take nearly as long as what Wednesday night did either. Most of the work was on Wednesday night. Tonight we're just putting on the finishing touches. So we're putting on the water slides on 2 of our pens. I'm actually using all water slide tonight because I've run out of black vinyl. And I didn't realise, I still thought I had half a roll somewhere. I can't find it anywhere. So we are all using all water slides tonight. You can use vinyl if you don't want to use water slide. Usually for the pen holder and the coaster, I do use vinyl. Couldn't do that, so I'm using water slide tonight. But I will go through that again when we get to it. Hello everybody jumping on. How was your week? I did my front flip today. For anybody that's seen the video, you can actually pinpoint the moment that my brain goes, oh shit. Have you ever seen, you know, the images, like the GIF images, where you see the big fat panda do a forward roll? I pulled that look off flawlessly. Didn't do a front flip. It was more like a bounce, 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 oh crap, forward roll. But I did go the whole way over, which was my goal. My goal was to do a full rotation. It didn't happen in the air, but it was a full rotation. Didn't win. For those watching after the fact that didn't see my post in the group, it was for a radio competition, right? It was at like a place like Flip Out. It's called Spring Loaded. And I had to do a trick to try and win a free term of classes for one of my children. My trick was I was going to attempt to do a front flip into the foam pit, and it ended up being more like a forward roll. I didn't win first prize, but I think they gave me a pity prize just for having a go. And I got 4 free play sessions. So as well as classes, they do like the free play on the weekends and stuff. So I got 4 free passes for that. So it was worth it. Like, I don't mind having a laugh at myself. I'm going to do that anyway, but at least I won something for it this time. We're going to start off with the coaster tonight, finishing off the coaster, because look who's organised. We got our resin. So we're going to hit that button. And here is how our coaster came up. Full disclosure though, I'm going to hold it up and hope it focuses. Can you see? No, that's not going to work. Can you see how many little micro bubbles are in this little... Look at that. Oh. Isn't that shocking? Look at them all, right? And I think it's because I was mixing my resin in a rush in the live. I haven't taken as much care as I usually do. And let's face it, it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? So obviously this isn't going to be the one that I give Mr. Collins now. I am going to have to remake it because there's no way I'm gifting that. That's terrible. But we're still going to use it for the sake of the live. Did you wear a panda suit? No. But I did remember to wear a sports bra so I didn't knock myself out. And I wore contact lenses so my glasses didn't go flying off everywhere. And then I wore like a little cami singlet under my t-shirt that I then tucked into my pants so that if my shirt flew up, I didn't scar everybody for life. So I did put thought into it, but I didn't wear a costume. But the video is floating around in the group somewhere in the comments section. Hi Nicole! We're going to finish this coaster off first. So the coaster is one thing that when I've made them in the past, I have used vinyl. As I mentioned, I can't find my black vinyl. I'm sure I've still got like 1/2 meter somewhere. But I couldn't find it. I know I haven't run out, I just couldn't find it. So we're using a water slide tonight. I'm going to put my area. But yeah, for this and the pen holder, I do usually use vinyl. But rather than do it a different colour because I'm stubborn and I have to use black, I thought I'll give it a crack with a water slide. Obviously this will work because it's just like putting a water slide on a tumbler and then putting the resin over the top. The pen holder I'm a little bit interested in seeing, especially since this is the satin sealer that I used, how it looks with a water slide. If I don't like the look of it, I think I'll just end up peeling it off after the live and putting like a light blue vinyl on it or something. We shall see. But the process is still the same. Maybe if you had a costume you would have... Listen, there was there was only a handful of us, and I was the least, what's the word? I was the most crap entry. Like, I don't know how to. Right, there was one that did a silly salmon, one that did what I had in my head that I could do. She executed a front flip, landed on her feet and everything. Little show off. She's actually the lady that ended up winning. But I don't mind so much because she'd brought her kids down for a play session. And got roped into it because apparently a lot of the people that entered the competition were either in lockdown or had to work. So there weren't a lot of entries that showed up, but this woman doesn't usually, like, none of her kids are enrolled in any of the classes at Spring Loaded, and she just brought them down for the holidays, but her daughter does do gymnastics. So I wasn't too upset that she won because, you know, that's new business for the club, I suppose. I wasn't doing it to win, I was doing it just to have a laugh at myself, because if you can't laugh at yourself, then who can you laugh at? But you're right, maybe if I'd gone in a costume and made a big thing about it. But I'll be honest, I was an absolute wreck by the time I'd got down there. I was when they called me yesterday, I was like, yeah, I'll have a go. And then by the time it was time to leave to go down there today, I was like, oh, what the hell have I done? So that is how I usually do it with vinyl. But tonight we used water slide. It's as simple as drawing two really skinny rectangles and putting their name in the middle. But that is how the coasters come up. And then I'm going to try and dry this out. Usually you'd have to wait for the water slide to dry a little bit more. But as I said, I'm not going to use this as a gift anyway because of all the bubbles that are in it. So once your vinyl or your water slide or whatever goes on, I don't want the resin to come all the way up to the top. If you see, it is indented, right? I just want it to seal my water slide in. And it's as simple as for this coaster too, I did mix up 15 mils of resin because that will give me a nice thick even coverage, like the vinyl's not going to be sticking up, or the water slide in this case. Alright, it's going to give it enough protection for when they put their hot mug or whatever on, it's not going to burn away at the vinyl or anything. But it's not going to. Right, so that comes up to where the blue starts, so I still have a little bit of a lip. But that is how I finish off my coasters, and then that will cure now. And had it not had the flaws that it did, it would have been ready for gifting. That's how I finish off mine. This is what I mean, guys. It's just all the finishing touches on everything tonight. I'm actually going to put this behind me, so that I don't put me elbow or whatever in it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do while we have the water out is put our water slides on everything. Does anybody have any questions so far? Hi, Kelly. Nicole, that's exactly right. Give it, and that's why I did it, right? I had a go. I wasn't doing much else with me day. Again, we're using water slides for the pen, but I prefer to use water slides for my pens anyway. Just off, back to topic. But, you know, what's the old expression? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And that was my attitude today, right? If I win, I win. And if I don't, well, I mean, my kids had an absolute ball watching me do it, right? My little man does tumbling and cheer. Like, he's got natural talent, and then he's got skill on top of that. He just blows me out of the water with what he does. But seeing him proud of me today, oh, I love you. Oh, it was worth it. 100% worth it in that moment. Okay, so going back to, here is our pencil. Both of the pens now have a coat of resin on them as well. And this did get its second coat of glitter. So that's what it now looks like with its two coats. And they have their resin on them. Okay, so once the resin is cured, your next step for the pencil, and I don't do anything fancy. I've seen some people do it to make it look like an actual pencil with like the HB and the lines and everything down it. I don't bother with any of that. I just stick the name on. And there's the pencil. Now obviously when it all goes back together, for the sake of the live, it's going to have a little silver bit up the top here where the clicker is, right? But the whole idea is, because I use the black Inkjoy pens, right, that's what they end up looking like, and the base of the pen looks like the lead of the pencil. Okay. So that is that one finished. Well, not finished. It's going to still need another coat of resin. But I usually leave my water slide. If I put my water slides on at night, I wait until the next morning, and vice versa. If I put my water slides on sometime in the morning, I don't put any resin on until that night. But that is now ready to dry overnight, and it will get its final coat tomorrow. Do you put another coat of epoxy over that? Yes, I do. Hi, Stacey. We're just finishing up everything that we made on Wednesday night. So if you've caught up to those lives, you're ready to go. Okay, so this is, I'm just trying to get this out of the way. Make sure I have a clean surface. Okay, so I'm going to wet my crayon. Okay, now this is how I apply my water slide wraps for pens. I have not come across an easier way than this to do it. So you get your water slide and you put it upside down. I use Dr. Deacle and Mr. Hyde paper. I haven't found any, like I used to use the stuff off eBay, but this stuff just blows it out of the water. And I have an inkjet printer as well, so it has been sealed with Rust-Oleum 2 times. I put it face down, right? So mirror, like face down, sticky side that was against the paper up. I line up my pen. You push down and apply pressure, and then roll. And as you roll, if you can see, putting that pressure on will lift the wrap and make it stick to your pen. And then it's just a case of rolling it on. There we go. Push all the water and the air bubbles out. And again, if you wanted to, you could do this part with vinyl. But I just find wraps, I mean, I've tried wraps with clear vinyl and I've tried wraps with printed vinyl. And I just, every time I come back to using water slides because I can do it like that. I'm not very good with like bigger surface areas like split tumblers and stuff. I don't have as much of a problem with, but teeny tiny little areas like a pen, adhesive vinyl wraps don't like me. Which ink printer do you recommend, Joanne? I have an Epson XP970. I got it from Officeworks. I think from memory it's about $400. But it has an incredible print quality. It actually, to what I've seen, it does rival some of the entry-level laser printers. I know that everybody says that laser is always the way to go. I actually looked into it, and the entry-level laser printers had a lower DPI quality than what my printer does now, so I just stuck with my inkjet. But just do your research. But I would recommend sticking with an Epson, just because they do tend to have higher quality. And then there's a website called Ink Station. That's where I get my ink from, because it's like a fraction of the price for genuine ink. I think for like a whole set of ink, it's a 6 color plus black. So instead of it just having the yellow, blue, pink that normal printers have, it's actually got 2 shades of blue and 2 shades of pink, and then the black and the yellow. And no, it's a 4 color printer, a 5 color printer. I don't know, I'm confused. Yeah, because there's a yellow, and then 2 blues, and then 2 pinks, and then the black. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 6. I'm confusing myself now. But I think I pay like maybe $40 for the entire set. Yes, the XP 970 is an A3 printer, which is, I've never printed A3 before, but I'm just getting into sublimation now. And I tried to find an A3 printer for that, and I couldn't within my price range. But if I'm going to be, if I'm going to be stocking bigger designs now because I can do the sublimation, then I think I might invest in some A3, like the dark transfer paper. Anyway, back to this. That is our crayon. Ta-da! And that's just done with water slide. So again, it's going to have the little black tip on it with the silver clicker, but you get the idea. Okay, and my wraps measure, hang on, I have it here in front of me, I will tell you quickly. 4.75 inches high by 1.5 inches wide. Bring you back up again. And as you can see, it fits perfectly. I always leave, anybody that uses the Inkjoy pens, you'll know that the top tapers in so that it makes it for where the clicker goes. I size my wraps so that they go from the very bottom of the pen where the tip screws in to just where that taper starts. So I always have that little tiny gap on the top. Do I have another? I do. See? That white. I always have that tiny little gap. But I will leave them to dry overnight. But they are our 2 teacher appreciation pens. I've actually put that on the wrong way because she's right-handed, but that's alright, I can fix that later. Ta-da! So that's that, and the coaster's done. All we've got to do now is we'll finish this off. Oh, this I finished. I was going to put her name on it, but again, I don't have the vinyl. So when I finished that off, I would have put her name down there to match. It's going to the same lady, right? As per Rebecca's recommendation, though, I did glue that top on. Okay, so I put a tiny little bit of liquid fusion with my needle tip bottle around one of the threads, and then I screwed it on and I just let it dry. And now that's not coming off either. And before I gift it to her, I will go ahead and solder on my jump rings just so it doesn't pull apart. But that's now finished as well, almost. Now the pen holder. using water slide. Prefer to use vinyl. I'm not sure how it's going because, like I said, because I use the satin, I'm not sure how we're going to go. But to finish these off, I actually ended up putting another coat of glitter on this just to make it less transparent. So that's what it looks like with 2 coats on. To put a second coat of glitter on, you're going to do exactly what I am going to do tonight. But then obviously you'd put your glitter on, pour it in, swirl it around, cover it all, tip it out, let it dry completely, and then go on to doing it exactly the same way as what we're about to do now. So that has had a second coat already, but we're going to do this bit first. Now obviously I'm not going to be putting my glass that has Mod Podge and everything on it in the oven to bake this water slide on. So I'm just going to let it sit on my shelf and dry. It does work. I did it with mugs before I learnt, way back in the beginning, before I learnt that you could actually bake water slides onto mugs. I used to just let them sit on my order shelf and dry out for a week or 2, and I never had any issues with them. So I'm going to do the same with this, if I can get it to lay flat. If it's going to keep fighting me on the issue, however, like I said, I may end up just ripping it off and putting another colour on there. But just for example's sake, I wanted to show you, because this is the file that I'm going to put in the group, like the files section of the group. Remember I told you on Wednesday night I'm going to share the file with you? This is the file that I'm going to share. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like when it's finished. But I am struggling. Whoop, I can hear my mum getting cranky at one of the kids. Whoops. I have to give her a pay raise. Can come out of their pocket money, I think. Yeah, I am struggling with it. I'm trying to get it to sit flat, but it doesn't want to. We'll see whether that holds. But that, I'm trying to stop that glare from that light. That's what it looks like. So it's got 3 pencils and then their name goes in the middle. The font that I've used tonight is one of my favorites when I'm using teachers, like doing teachers stuff. That's lowercase, upper and lowercase, and then this one's all capitals. It's a font called Crayon Kids. If anybody's interested in it, I will find out where I got it from. I can't remember if it was a paid file or a daily freebie, you know, one of those daily freebies. I'm pretty sure it didn't come from Devonport, but I will look into it for you. If anybody is interested, just let me know. Yeah, it's because of the curve. They're big, chunky, like chubby glasses, and the curve on them is just a bit weird because they curve, if you can see, they curve that way as well. It's just weird. But it was just along this bottom bit I was having issues. That's what it looks like. And this file, without the name obviously, but this pencil file will be in the files section of the group. I will upload that tonight. But once you have your design on it, keeping in mind that it's a pen holder, obviously we don't want the teachers putting their pens in. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this because we all know what I'm like. I end up spilling it everywhere. So we'll get rid of that before we have an accident. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying. Now, because we are going to give them as pen holders, obviously we don't want them putting their pens and pencils and everything in there with loose glitter and it going everywhere. So, you need to do 2 coats of Mod Podge and you do need to make sure that it is completely dry. Sometimes making it slightly smaller helps with curbs. You're right, Nicole. But But this is what I usually cut with vinyl. So I just used the same file that I've used before, but instead of cutting it, I printed it. So had I had the foresight of making it smaller. Okay, so we're just going to, and I like to do my bottom first. I splodge Mod Podge in there. And spread it all around. Okay, so once I have my bottom done, I'm going to start pulling my Mod Podge up the sides of my glass. Okay, so this is 2 coats of this is going to ensure that that glitter is sealed. It's not going to flake off. I mean, if they're seriously heavy-handed with it, they might cause some damage, but, you know, hopefully. They're not going to be digging in it with scissors or anything like that. Okay, see that? So, I mean, if you're using a white glitter, it might be a bit of a problem, but if you're using any other colour but white, you're going to be able to see where you've done and where you still need to do. I'm being quite generous with my application. Don't be stingy. You'd rather have really nice thick coats and know that it's going to stand up to the test of time. Like that. I learnt from putting vinyl on 8cm baubles for years. This will be my 4th year doing baubles. The first 2 years that I did them, I sold, the first year I sold just over 300, the second year I sold well over 500. I was so over it by last year, so I put a limit of it on it. I only bought 150. I sold all 150 and then I ended up buying 50 more. But I had some local competition last year, and now this year I feel, because everybody and their dog got a cricket for Christmas last year, or Mother's Day this year, I feel like I'm going to have a lot more competition, which is why I'm really pushing my ink swirl baubles this year, because nobody else is doing them. They're all doing the glittered baubles with the name and the ribbon, or they're doing, I saw one the other day that's doing the unicorn ones. There's a lady that's doing Grinch and koalas and all kinds of stuff as well. So my point of difference this year is going to be my ink swirls, because nobody, touch wood, is doing them yet. I mean, it's going to come. Sooner or later, there's going to be somebody that decides they're going to give me a run for me money. But this year, I'm going to concentrate on ink swirls. But to be honest, I'm a bit overboard. Like, they were fun the first year. The second year, they were just exhausting. Last year, I had fun. This year, I'm having fun because they're ink swirls. But I think it's going to get to a point where I'm over it. I'll let everybody else do them. That is what it looks like from the inside. Okay, so once that goes clear and it's sparkly again, well, not clear, but the Mod Podge goes clear and you can see the glitter and it's sparkly again, I'll do another coat, and then once that's dry, it will be ready to gift. Okay, my only advice is, if you do want to gift them, don't start making it like a couple of days before the gift is due. Make sure you give it at least a couple of weeks, just to make sure that that Mod Podge sets nice and hard. Because again, we don't want them scratching off the glitter. But that is how you finish off your pen holder. Okay, which means we've done the pens, we've done the coaster. This we can't finish because I don't have any vinyl, but I was planning on putting Ms. Meyer's name on it because then she'll have a keychain, a pen holder, and a pen. Okay, that was my intention. So eventually this will get her name on it, which means the only thing we have to finish is our other keychain. So, told you, nice and quick tonight. Actually, I'm going to leave that out, otherwise I'll forget to wash it. I'm using the clear elastic from Tech Wrap. I like it because it has some give to it. Here are all of our pieces that are now baked. I baked them at 130 degrees, and honestly I think they baked for about 45 minutes because I didn't hear the oven go off. So they got extra baked, half their luck. And then I'm using a gold Lobster Clasp tonight and a little end cap. And if anybody has seen my bubblegum pen and bag bling tutorial, these go together pretty much exactly the same way. Alright, so I want enough elastic so that it's excessive, because I'm always really paranoid that I'm not going to have enough elastic. Okay, so with your cord or your elastic or whatever you're using, you want to double it over, right, so it's folded in half. We're going to put it through the ring part of our lobster clasp, and then we're going to pull it back through that loop at the other end. If you can see here, right, we're going to pull that closed, and that's how we're going to attach it to our lobster clasp. Now from here we want to thread our pencil on backwards. So first we want our rubber part, and then our little silver metal bit, and then our 2 bits of pencil, our little inside of the pencil, making sure that you put that on the right way. Remember how we made it slightly tapered at one end so that it would join up with our lead. Alright, make sure you don't put it on backwards. I've done it before. And then this one's pretty obvious which way it goes on. Nope, that's only one bit. Where's the other bit? Hello, excuse me. There we go. Ta-da! Our pencil! Our handmade clay pencil! Okay, so I'm going to tie this once. Then we're going to put our end cap on, just to finish it off. We're going to put both ends of the thread through the end cap first. See? Then we're going to take just one side, loop it up and around and down back through the end cap again. Like so. Okay, that just holds it in place so that there's, okay, and then we're going to tie it off. 1, 2, 3 for good measure. And that is our pencil. Ta-da! Aren't they cute? Okay, now, I've only ever made a couple of these, but with all of my clay works you would have seen in the Christmas mini series, I like to spray my clay with Rust-Oleum 2 times in the gloss, just because it makes it nice and shiny. No, it doesn't break away the clay. There are some spray coats that you use that can damage clay. Rust-Oleum is safe, so is the Crayon brand. It is safe to spray over clay. It's not going to eat away at the clay. But that is our little pencil keychain. What do you reckon? And that concludes our mini series. Please focus. I'll get you out of the way because you're not part of it. Okay, so we have our 2 keychains, our 2 pens, our pen holder, and our coaster. Ta-da! What do you think? That's it, we're done. So I will now go ahead. This, as we've explained, this one is a bit, but had no micro bubbles in it, as soon as the resin that we poured on tonight had cured, this would be ready for gifting. This just needs one more coat of Mod Podge, and then this will be ready. These need their final coat of resin, and then they will be ready. This I will spray seal with some gloss just to make it all pretty. But that is some ideas on teachers' gifts. Let me know. Nicole, it does. But mugs still have their place. I gave Mr. Collins, my eldest had him last year, and I gave him a coffee mug, except he's really into Harley Davidson motorbikes, so I used the Harley Davidson logo, but the H and D I changed to E and C because they're his initials, and gave him that. So mugs still have their place. We filled it with Lindt chocolates. Let me know if you have any other ideas or what you plan to make with for your teachers, if you're making teachers gifts. Coach gifts, if your kids do sport, that's a whole nother topic. Obviously it depends on the sport and whatnot. My kids do, my eldest does parkour, which is like a ninja warrior thing. My daughter does contemporary dancing, and Logan does tumbling and cheer, but it's all at the same place, and a lot of them share coaches, so I've cheated a little bit that way this year as well. They're just, all of the coaches are just going to get it from the Sculthorpe kids, so that I don't have to double up. But I reckon they're pretty good ideas. I mean, these, my twins were at a different school last year, so the female teacher and the teacher's aide got one of these each, and the other male teacher got one of these each last year. But now that the twins are at a different school, they're at the same school as Ryder, I can get away with doing this again. Obviously pens only became a thing this year, so that's a new idea. These, if you missed Wednesday, you can get the blanks from Lush Glitters and Blanks, and then the inside you do the same way that you would do a bauble, and you can make that any colour you like. But that's me. That's this mini series done.